Welcome to the show. I am James Swanwick. Today we are talking about your biometric data. And alcohol consumption was the most tracked behavior last year on the wearable device Whoop. You may have heard of it, WHOOP. Basically, it's like a watch you wear around on your wrist, and it tracks your heart rate variability and your recovery time. A lot of these wearable devices can track things like sleep and alcohol consumption. I wear an Oura ring, for example, OURA, which tracks my sleep. But for the benefit of this episode, I want to talk about the results that Whoop users generated when they tracked their alcohol consumption. Really interesting. I'm looking at an article here online as I'm speaking into the microphone here, which is called Alcohol, How Alcohol Negatively Impacts Your Biometric Data. And this is from a reporter at whoop.com. Her name is Summer Jasinski. And essentially what the article shows is that, excuse me, at least what the Whoop data shows, is that every drink negatively affects your resting heart rate and your heart rate variability. And also the Whoop data showed that alcohol consumption is higher around the holidays and the weekends. That's not surprising, but it's interesting to see that confirmed. Alcohol consumption was the most tracked behavior by Whoop users last year, beating out the next closest behavior, which was caffeine, by nearly 1 million entries, which means a lot of people are very much focused on alcohol at the moment and the effects of alcohol. This reporter talks about how they investigated the relationship between the number of drinks you have and the timing of those drinks with next day metrics. So let's just talk about the alcohol consumption and when it spikes first, and then we'll go on and we'll talk about the results from people who drank one drink and how they felt in the morning and their resting heart rate and how it affected other things. But alcohol consumption was shown to spike around the holidays, with members reporting alcohol consumption an average of 44.1% days in December. Wow, so almost half of the days in December people were drinking. Holidays are, not surprisingly, a time when people drink more than normal, likely due to social events, family celebrations, parties, and days off of work. And the data certainly proves that. The Whoop data shows an average increase of 46.7% consumption on holidays and evenings. Week to week, Whoop members report drinking most often on the weekend. Members who regularly track alcohol reported consumption on 59% of Saturdays. Saturdays also result in the highest number of drinks recorded on average, with a typical member reporting 3.6 drinks. So there you go. Saturday is the is the busiest day for drinking, and typical member drank 3.6 drinks on a Saturday. That's a lot. It's almost 4 drinks. 4 drinks a day every Saturday. Yeah, that's not nothing. Why when you drink affects your recovery. So timing of when you have a drink plays an important role in how recovered you may feel the following day. Alcohol has a half-life in the body of between 4 and 5 hours, which means that it takes your body between 4 and 5 hours to process out half of the alcohol in the bloodstream. So say that again. So it takes between 4 and 5 hours for your body to process out half of the alcohol in the bloodstream. That's pretty slow processing time. Therefore, the longer before bed that you stop drinking, the more time you give your body to process the alcohol and reduce any negative repercussions to sleep. In fact, I often say that you're better off drinking for breakfast than you are anywhere close to bedtime, because at least then you'll give your body up to 16 hours to process the alcohol and get all of those toxins out of the system, which will then go a long way to ensuring you have a good night's sleep. Problem is when you drink close to bedtime, your body's now having to go to work to process and get all of those toxins out of the body, and then that's not great for sleep, because when we sleep we want to be relaxed and repairing and being restorative. We don't want to put it to work. So the Whoop data certainly shows that the further from bed that members reported drinking alcohol, the higher their recovery. So from 9 hours before bed to 4 hours before bed, they saw an average recovery drop of just 1% per hour. However, between 4 hours and 1 hour before bedtime, we see an average recovery drop of 3% per hour. And so basically what this is showing is that the more time you give your body to process alcohol, the better your recovery will be. Most people, in fact, most people who would listen to this podcast and who are drinking would certainly be drinking close to bedtime. That's been my experience. People who've been sharing, their drinking habits. People come home from work, they think that having a drink will relax them, make them sleepy. They pour themselves a glass of wine, maybe as they're making dinner. Maybe they have one last drink before bed just to put them to sleep. Yeah, it puts you to sleep, but it doesn't put your body into a repaired or restorative state. It puts it into a working state. That's the problem. So again, the further away from bedtime you can complete your drinking, the better. The closer to bedtime that you're drinking, the worse you're going to be.
Hi, this is Victoria English, Senior Coach at Project 90, the program that helps high achievers stop drinking either temporarily or permanently. If you're an executive, entrepreneur, investor, physician, or other high achiever and know you're drinking too much, if you know your current drinking habits are compromising your sleep, relationships, health, and your happiness, and you're ready to finally get your drinking under control by quitting for either at least 90 days or 1 year, you are invited to apply to become a Project 90 client. Our 90-day and 1-year programs involve a safe, fun, yes, I said fun, private virtual community of high achievers with a process that boasts an incredible 92% success rate of clients reaching at least 90 consecutive days alcohol-free. Applicants can apply for an introductory interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/Project 90. You'll likely speak directly with me or one of our other coaches. Are you ready to stop for at least 90 days? Are you ready to stop for at least 1 year? If so, we can help. Application interviews are limited and are conducted on a first-come, first-served basis. If there are no remaining interview times available, wait a few weeks and try again. Schedule your 15-minute initial application interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/Project 90. Let's get back to the show.
There's a headline on this article here that says, how the number of drinks you have impacts your resting heart rate variability, and recovery. And the article says, if you're having drinks, bedtime isn't the only important factor to consider. The amount you consume matters as well. Typically, your body's liver is able to process about 1 standard drink per hour. So every additional drink accumulates alcohol in the body until your system is able to metabolize it. The Whoop journal allows members to input how many drinks they consumed, and the Whoop data shows that every additional drink plays a critical role in next day recovery in a fairly linear trend. On average, for every drink the Whoop members consume, the resting heart rate increases an average of 1.3 beats per minute. I'll say that again. For every drink that you have, your resting heart rate will likely increase an average of 1.3 beats per minute. That's a lot. So if you're having 4, you're up to, what's that, 3, 4, probably about 6 beats per minute. That's a lot. That's a big increase. Heart rate variability decreases an average of 2.4. And your recovery decreases an average of 4.2%. So, the data is showing that the more you drink, the worse off you are. I mean, this is not ground-shattering information. I'm sure this is common sense, but it's just, again, it's interesting to see the data proving what we have long suspected. There's another headline here that says, why hydration is essential for improving recovery. The article says, alcohol is known as a diuretic, resulting in increased dehydration. How does being more hydrated change how members who drink recover? We analysed how recovery changes for members who track both drinking and hydration and determined that hydration may help soothe that next day recovery hangover. Members who record both being sufficiently hydrated and consuming alcohol wake up the next morning with an average recovery of 55%, while members who consume alcohol but report not sufficiently hydrating see a 5% lower average recovery score at only 50%. The bottom line is, if you decide to drink, think about when you're going to have your last drink and how much water you have. Your recovery will be all the better for it. I say don't even have a recovery. I say just don't drink at all, and then you don't need a recovery. But there you go. That's the statistics from many hundreds of thousands, in fact, probably millions, I'm assuming now, because in the first sentence of this article, they said that alcohol consumption was the most tracked behavior, beating out caffeine by nearly 1 million entries. So, yeah, it's got to be millions of entries. So, in summary, the closer to bedtime you drink, the worse off you'll be. The more you drink, the worse off you'll be. The more water you drink while you're drinking alcohol, the better off you will be, or the least bad you'll be is probably a better way of putting it. And, recovery takes a long time. From when you drink alcohol, it takes 4 to 5 hours to get rid of just only half of that alcohol. So, yeah, and, the more you drink, your heart rate variability and your resting heart rate is all messed up. Resting heart rate is very important. Drink lots of water. I mean, yeah, nothing ground-shattering, but just good to have this repeated, right? Good to know. The data backs up what we long suspect. All right, that is it for me. Thanks for listening. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Hi there, this is James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I would be so grateful if you would leave a review. That will help us climb the rankings and get our show exposed to so many more people who could really benefit from the content. You can do that by going into Apple Podcasts, rating the show, writing a little 1-sentence summary, and posting it. That would be so amazing. Thank you. Likewise, if you would like to schedule a 15-minute exploratory call and apply for our Project 90 program, then you can do so by going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. If you'd like to get the free guide, that is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Our YouTube channel is at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at James Swanwick. Thank you so much for listening. We so appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one.